You both me ask questions?
We're gonna play that.
Well, we can go back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, are you gonna
We're doing a bag up.
are you gonna play this for the teacher too, or
No,
just,
no, no.
No,
It's just for us.
just for us.
Oh, okay,
She's only gonna see the transcript.
okay. So you can take out something stupid if you want to. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
And we will.
If I start rambling, that's fine. So okay.
go for it. So, thank you, Jason, for participating in this study. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, what your interests are, where you grew up?
I grew up in Seymour, Connecticut, which is probably between between New Haven and Waterbury. Went to school in Southern Connecticut. Majored in communications. Almost had a minor in journalism. Was one class short, but didn't see the reason to go back and finish it. I mean, worked in the SID office for 4 years at Southern Connecticut. Was actually recruited out of high school. What happened was a high school coach, a football coach who was at Seymour High School where I went to school, then took a job at Southern Connecticut, and he told the SID about me. And it's the stuff that I was doing in high school was kind of, I was doing stats and writing stories ever since I was like a sophomore in high school. So I was recruited. The SID at Southern Connecticut called me. I didn't know what an SID was. He's like, "Oh, this is what we do." I'm like, "Okay." So I came down. Well, actually, to backtrack, I went into my high school guidance counselor's office when I was a senior, and he goes, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" I said, "I want to watch sports." I thought I was being a smart ass. The guy's like, "Oh, I got the guy just for you." So it was basically the same guy, the SID at Southern. Went and met him, showed me what he does. Thought it was awesome, and there you have it.
Been there ever since.
What's that?
So you've been there ever since.
Yeah, I mean, I was there, and worked there for 4 years. When I graduated, they didn't have a job because the assistant was staying, so I got a job at Albertus Magnus. They really kind of almost like started up the SAD department over there. I mean, we didn't even have a fax machine. If you wanted to send a fax, you got to walk across campus and pay $1. And then you'd walk across campus and pay your $1, and then you'd come back, and then they tell you that one's in, so you had to go walk back across and pay another $1. That's a true story. So
Is this in the 80s or the 90s?
that was in 1993. Yeah, that was in the fall of '93. So I was there for 1 year, and I was just, I wanted to get out so bad. I was, and then they told me they cut my job. That's back to part-time, but they're going to let me live on campus and eat there and everything. And I was like an emergency on-call. So if your plumbing was backed up, they'd call me and be like, "Hey, can you call the plumber?" So that was for a couple months. Then actually the Southern job opened. I went back there for a year, and then came here. So
How did you end up at the position at Coast Guard right now?
I was looking for jobs in the summer of '95 after my first year back at Southern, and Coast Guard was open. I applied for it. It actually opened late. I guess the SID there went to went to Penn in like late July. So I was with football. They were kind of in a bind, and I got lucky. The AD at Southern Connecticut was Darryl Rogers. He's a former NFL coach, and the AD at Coast Guard was Chuck Mills. He's also a former NFL coach. So they know each other. And basically he said, "Does this guy know football?" He's like, "Yeah." So so they brought me in, and I think I started like August 20th. So it was late, 19 years later, here we are.
So basically, it was a football that helped you get the job then.
Yeah. If I didn't know how to do football, I probably wouldn't have got the job. Yeah. So that's
simple as that.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's all about who you know in the business, and those two guys knew each other, and he told this guy he can do football. He's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
There you go.
And tell me about the early stages of the job. Did you learn anything? Did you have any big like mistakes that I don't know how I'm trying to word this like.
Anything I regret or anything?
Any
Since you started out, was there anything that you were thrown into that you didn't feel that you were ready to?
Yeah.
No, but being a one-person shop, there's just so much stuff going on. I think I don't remember, it was so long ago, but just the fact that you have so much stuff going on a Saturday, and you have no one to help you. So you have a football game, you have 2 soccer games, you have two cross countries, and it's just.
How do you manage that?
You know that you're going into work at 10 o'clock and you're not getting out till 9 or 10 o'clock. And you just kind of, and again, I think the key is communication. For instance, if we have a home football game, this goes back to, I only have an assistant for 2 years now. So within the first 17 years, if I have a home football game and we're playing 3 other games at home. No, I'm going to call the SID and say, hey, just so you know, we may be playing an 11 o'clock soccer game, but you're not getting anything from me till 7 o'clock at night. And I think you just got to give them, hey, we have football, I have to take care of football.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think as an SID, I would want to know that, because if not, you're 11 o'clock game, you're like, by one, hey, where's the stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So I think as long as you let them know, I mean, hey, I'm one person, football rules the world here, so you got to be at football, and
Yeah.
there may be an 11 o'clock soccer and a 12 o'clock volleyball, but I'm not even getting that stuff till 6 o'clock at night. So I mean, I think you're only one person, you only be one place at once.
How do you manage the statting and everything, like on game days? Do you have just like students do it?
You wrote, that's the thing that's very challenging in Coast Guard is we have no student help. We can't pay student workers, so what you do is stuff has changed. When we first came in, we were allowed to give kids what's called a long weekend if they helped you out for a season. So basically what that means is Friday at 5 o'clock, they can leave campus and not come back until Sunday at 6. And if you're a freshman, that's like gold. That's like just giving a kid, you'd rather have that than a bar of gold. But then all of a sudden, every 4 years, the administration changes, the admiral and stuff like that, and they said that, no, we can't give out anything. So now you just have to rely on kids to volunteer because they want to help you, or you become close with them, and it's become more challenging. But you can't pay anybody, and as far as statting stuff, you rely a lot on managers. Like I can go back, like fall was always the worst. I mean, football, okay, you take care of yourself. Volleyball, the coach would know she had to keep her stats on the bench. And in D3 volleyball, until this year, you never had to give a box score to your opponent. This is the first year, they just changed that this year. So it was always like, you just worry about your own stats, they worry about their stats, it's fine.
Okay.
And then soccer's, you would just have a couple of the manager for the team would keep the score sheet, and then you'd be sitting at your desk when you got back.
That's easy. Yep.
Yeah, so. And obviously with basketball, you have one court, you can't play 2 games at once, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So what is the title of your position right now?
Director of Athletic Media Relations. It was Sports Information Director for about 17 years, but we had a new AD coming 2 years ago, and he's a D1 guy. This is the first job. He's been about 6 or 7 different D1 schools.
Okay.
So we probably released it. And so he wants to run this thing like a D1 program, and he came in and he sat down with me and he said, so let me get this straight. He goes, we got 21 sports, and you have no help. I said, yeah. He goes, that's asinine. That's going to change right now. I said, okay. So the next thing you know, like 2 days later, he's like, all right, here's the deal. You have this much money to hire. Okay, so it was great. I mean, but now, he expects a lot more. So the work, but again, if you're going to give me somebody, he's giving you the tools to succeed, but he wants to see more audio. Like we just kind of revamped the website. We went to Presto, and it's great. But his big thing is, I just gave you a new car. Now I want you to make it drive fast. That's his thing.
So
I gave you a new car. Don't treat it like crap. I gave you a new car. Now I want you to make it drive fast.
does that mean more video? Does that mean more like game previews?
He's more. He's a couple things. He's big into the feature stories. Not just he wants that. What kids are doing, and that's good. So we're always harping, and like we have these monthly meetings, and the big thing I get up and like he says, you go in there and stand on your soapbox. So I go in there and I'm like, come on, you guys know your athletes. Again, I know some of the kids, but I'm going to say it, like some of them, the Olympic sports with like cross country, swimming, track and field. I don't really know the kids, so I say to the coaches, look, you guys know your kids, you know their background stories. Let me know.
Yeah.
And I even say to them, I'm like, ask other kids, because some kids don't want to talk about themselves. So I said, ask your other kids to tell you something about somebody else. Because I put it on their info sheet, but they all leave it blank. They don't write anything down. I'm like, give me something interesting about you that would make a good story. They don't fill it in.
Same with us.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the stuff I found out was from someone else. Like, did you know that so and so? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's.
And then what do you do with that info? Do you go to media people, or do you
No, I think
do it yourself?
We do it on the website.
Okay.
Yeah. We write it for the website. If it's something really good, for instance, we're very lucky where we have our football team covered really well. We have a weekly lunch on Wednesday with the media. A couple media show up. But again, so then we get a story on Thursday,
Yep.
and from that lunch we bring a couple players. We get an advance on Saturday for the game, and we get our game story. So there may be times where there's you get beat 49-7. Who the hell you gonna talk to? That's when you go, well, I have a story about these 2 brothers. So I may have a list of stuff that I want to get done, and you know what? If they're going to write it, even better. And then I'll just kind of use it on the website. So it's a little bit of both.
So you gotta do feature writing and game recap kind of writing styles.
Yeah. And he's big on. He thinks all our new AD thinks all game stories should have quotes in them. So, and it's, but again, so it's either quotes or for home games now, we went out, we bought a CJSports.com backdrop, and for football, men's soccer, women's soccer, 2 basketballs, baseball, softball, we'll bring the coach up after the game, and we won't put, it's easier for me to video them than to transcribe, which is real fun.
Oh yeah, we learned that real quick.
Yeah, so, but again, sometimes, the coach is pissed or doesn't want to come up for the video, so I'll just be like, just do me a favor, just text me a couple sentences just so I can put it in, and if they don't do it, he, at first he was like, why wasn't quoting her? And I'm like, well, I asked him, but now he's kind of been, he's lackadaisical about it, but it's, no, I think it's good. I think the video is good.
Describe to me the relationship between the AD and the sports info staff. What do you think it should be, and what it actually is for the Coast Guard?
Oh, I think it's good. I think the AD has to trust you. I mean, he has to know that. I mean, the good thing about both the ADs I've had is that they were not micromanagers. They knew that I was very capable. I think I do my job well, and I think they trust me, and they know that they don't have to come check up on me. I know what to do, better than, they've never done that job before. No. So, it's not like they can come in and go, did you do this? No. So, they trust me to do my job, and until I screw up, then I'll hear about it. I think it's important to have an open communication. I think if something goes down, I think you should, like I always say, if something goes down and you should know about it, I want to let him know about it before it happens so that he doesn't go, well, wait, when did this happen? No one told me. I don't want him, someone up on the hill to be like, oh, this happened in the game last night or something. So I always try to keep him in the loop, just, have the open, the open door policy going and be able to tell him what's going on.
Okay.
So you worked at 2 different schools before you went to...
Yes.
Before you went to Coast Guard. How are they different from Coast Guard? Or is there any different guidelines that Coast Guard that you have to follow since it's a military school?
I mean, Coast Guard has some. They have some silly guidelines, and it's a constant battle, and you have to just kind of. I mean, the Coast Guard public affairs staff, you have to have certain things to make your website compliant and your Twitter account compliant and your Facebook compliant.
Yeah.
And some of the rules are quite silly, and I mean, we have a guy who he basically volunteers and takes all of our pictures, and he takes millions of them. He comes to our football games, he'll take 12 albums of photos, okay?
Wow.
And the parents love it. Again, and so I always say, you're a parent and you're in California, you're just flipping through looking to find one little picture of Johnny and it'll make your day. and what he does is he posts them. We have actually a link right off our website to his old photo album, so it relieves me of doing it.
Yeah.
So he's up till 2 o'clock in the morning, posting photos. And Public Affairs says that every photo posted should have to have a caption.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I looked at it and I said, look. I said, that's not going to happen. I said, if you came in, I said, this happened last week. I said, this is 2013. If you came to my office and said, as the public affairs officer for the Coast Guard, that we have to have a